a little bit. So this is the get your saw blade and e-cutter out and take the teeth off step. All right, so what I'm going to do is come down here to the toolkit and look for this red X, which is virtual extraction. I'm going to turn that tool on. So in that tool, right, I have some options down here. Auto tooth detection, apply automatically, and play button or apply button. So what do these do? Well, if I've got both of these checked, when I click on a tooth, on the occlusal view of a tooth, it should remove it and it should reduce the bone a little, right? And this works pretty good if the tooth is sort of a standalone tooth. And I can just do this, you know, if the teeth are separated from each other. Where this tool struggles a little bit is when the tooth is adjacent to another tooth. So when I click on this cuspid, it's going to try to get rid of it, but you see it kind of leaves all this flash. And then if I go to that lateral, it really starts to get confused. And this just exacerbates, right, the further you go when teeth are adjacent. So I do any individual teeth, and then I pause and say, I'm going to come back here and turn off the automatic application. Then I'm going to click on the cuspid, and it will try to recognize where exactly the cuspid terminates all the way around. So you can see the spline that it creates, and I can customize it. I can take it a little bit further, and I can get as nuanced as this as I want to be. How much tooth do I want that to cut away? And then I hit that apply button, and taking that data, it'll take that off. But look, it still left that flash there because that spline went up and over, and you can't go between it like floss. So there's a couple of ways to tackle this. If I go to the next one and do the same thing. So now when I click the lateral, I'm going to go spline, but look, it's going to go up and over that. So what's the easy way? Well, if it's not too many movements, I will take time to move this. But this doesn't always calculate as it should, and sometimes get caught in the weeds here, but let's just see how this is going to do. All right, let's see if that applies. Yeah, but it still left a hot mess. So what do we do here? So if I take that cuspid out, and before I go to the lateral, if I will jump back to my wax knife tool over here on the left, take my smooth tool, and just smooth that contact down a little bit. That's all I'm doing. Now I'll jump right back to my virtual extraction tool, click on the lateral, and it actually gave me a better proposal. It's only going to go so far in here, right? So when I click apply, right, I now got a much better separation between the lateral and cuspid, right? But now I have this on the central. So what I'll do is I'll jump back over to my smooth tool, and I'll take that down, and then go back to my virtual extraction tool, put on a central, and now it's really weird because it's looking for a line of demarcation. So at the end, all the tools are there. Right click on the spline, fast edit line, right, and draw it, and click apply. And like that. So that's proud. So sometimes this can be a rabbit hole that I just hate, right? So let me show you some other tools to do this. So if I've got a lot of teeth like this, right, I could say, let me detect that, and let me try to change this line. You know, let's try to take several teeth off. But you see what happens. It really, if you're not careful, your mouse goes everywhere. So another way is that if I got the room to do this, right, and I want to cut the back heel of my model off, so I have to be careful with this, and that is that other tool here, the plane cutting tool. And I can take the plane cutting tool, and I can draw, you know, plane through there and knock them all off with one go. And then just come back and refine the bone. Pretty handy tool to use if the doctor told me he's doing some bone reduction, and a pretty quick way to get rid of a lot of teeth at once. So then I just got to go back to my wax knife tool and just start smoothing things down, reducing things down some more. I like the individual tool because you can see the socket that it leaves me is really closer to what it needs to be. Plane tool, you know, depending on how well I can get that plane, but I can reduce this down just like I do with the burr. Just think of this as an E-cutter on a stone model, right? In an immediate case. You could go back to the virtual extraction tool and see what happens. And kind of recognizes it as a tooth, but it didn't have it. Let's see if they get rid of it. Yeah, so it did better. So you can see, okay. So you can see that I wanted you to see all the different tools of getting rid of the teeth. Once I get the bulk of the teeth off, whatever tool, and I really just spend a little bit of time with my wax knife tools and get these sockets down to, whatever I think's appropriate. It really depends. Maybe the doctor gives me some indication of the health of the bone. I can always bring back, if I've got any data like this, I can bring back to see, okay, where was that central root again? Where was that lateral root again? To, kind of guide my reduction. Hold her down a little bit more. All right, so that's the bulk. So I've taken my whatever I've done, I want to smooth it. So I'm going to make my tool pretty big. I'm going to smooth that down. All right, and so what I have, right, is an edentulous upper arch, and I can go forward and not do anything on the lower. So I go forward. I've set my occlusal plane. Then I can draw my border for my denture. Probably would run this one through Model Builder and try to get that base a little bit extended, or not a lot of great data here, but it is an immediate. All right, so this is that good indication of, right, where's that spline messing up right there. This is where the good designers of you out there can tell me, where's this thing messing up? See a wrinkle? I don't see a line anywhere going under. Okay. All right, and that's for another time to solve that problem. It's probably a bad scan is probably what that is. So the cool thing about the workflow, and now we've got this model of edentulous, right? It's like every other denture workflow, right? I'm not doing anything different in the screens following, right? I'm picking my teeth, I'm setting my teeth, but the one change that you will see is in the upper right-hand corner when we get to where we're setting teeth. There will be an additional slider bar, and the additional slider bar is for your extracted teeth. Let's see if I can make them pop up here. Yeah. So when we start picking the teeth, right, we start setting the teeth, I can turn on the extracted teeth anytime. So if I'm picking, Ineos, right, so I have my extracted teeth, that'll help me with shape. It helps me with position, just like the reference denture. And so having those extracted teeth visible to us will make us create the best immediate setup we've ever done, because that's data we just don't have on a stone model with the teeth cut off of it. This is why I tell dentists every day, do not take an impression and let the lab do it traditionally. Tell them you want it done visually so that that data will remain. Or better yet, you have an intraoral scanner. Don't take an impression at all. Just get your wand in there and scan those teeth. That way in the lab, we have the ability to turn those things on and off at any time while we're doing this virtual setup. And that's our guide. That's our directive, right? That's easily identifiable for occlusal plane, buccal quarter, midline, incisal edge, tooth size, shape, position. All the data is right there, and we can turn it on and off anytime we like during our setup. And other than that,